Welcome to the Simply Be Found Huddle with Dean and Rob, where we talked about everything about marketing and business is totally unfiltered and just completely raw. So let's dive into this episode. We're going to talk about spam scores and your local listings and what that means to you. It's something we bring up and we talk to people about all the time, and how they end up getting a spam score when they're going out to Apple Business Connect, when they're going to Alexa, when they're going to voice search networks, so Siri and all this different stuff. Google Business Profile fits into this, along with Bing Places and all the other networks. So we're going to talk about all 800 networks. We're not going to mention them all by name, so don't think that's going to happen there. But we're going to talk about what your spam score means for your business and how it's probably hurting you. Let's go ahead and let's dive into today's conversation on that. All right, Dean, you've been asked lots of questions about spam scores. You've heard me talk about it multiple times. What's a spam score to you? I'm gonna put you on the spot because you might.
I was gonna say, was there a question in there, or now you throw a question at me? Now you want me to regurgitate everything you just said? So let's get this done. So to me, a spam score is, there's a couple different levels of it, but I think it all starts with your name, address, phone number. You hear the term NAP out there a lot, and I think it all begins with that. And it depends on what you're doing to get all your information to all the networks out there cleaned up. If you're not using our listings engine, then you have to go out and do this manually yourself. Or if you're with, the big thing is just getting that whole thing cleaned up and consistent. If it's not consistent, then when a search or a query happens on your mobile device on the internet, then it gets to be a question of, are you who you say you are, or do you offer what you offer? Am I close on what your thought process is? Or no, not even close.
Not kind of, sort of, but not really. So inside of the world of search, doesn't matter what search device we're talking about, doesn't matter what algorithm, what network, all of them have the same system. So if you look at it from a computer side of things, so from a data piece, it's going to go through and it has to pick up on information. With the world of AI, it's gotten smarter to be able to be an algorithm. You can do a lot more with it. So what happens is when you register on each of the networks, no matter if you're using us to be able to go out to everywhere at one time, if you're doing it manually, going one by one, which you can do, and most of the networks are for free if you go through and do that and you have the time, and just make sure your information is consistent. So that consistency fits into the spam score a tiny little bit. But what I see from businesses when I bring up spam scores is they don't talk about what they're doing or what they do. And what ends up happening, we see this across hundreds of profiles every single week, if not thousands. They come into the platform or into the dashboard and they start putting lists in place. So they think about it like meta keywords back in the 90s or early 2000s, where they would just keyword everything out. This is what I do. I do concrete, I do paving, I do they're not using a world of natural language. Natural language is going to be how you'd actually talk to somebody. So when you're doing your descriptions, this is going to be a major key point for how that is. Inside of our system, we stack that into 3 different areas. You have a long, you have a short, and then you have a medium. And I just said that in the backwards order, and I'm not sure why.
I'm not, I don't care. I get what you're saying, but you're going to mess everybody up. Go ahead. Keep going.
Right. So, I mean, it's one of those things to where you have your short, you have your medium, you have your long. There we go. Now my mind is inside of ABC instead of being A1, 2, 3. But
there's a joke in there somewhere, but I'll let it go right now. So.
There is a joke. There's actually a thing on Home Alone where Buzz does a whole piece and he goes A, 2, 4, something like that inside of it. But it's an inside joke here at the house. But that's what happens when you have small kids. But it's one of those things to where your spam score can go up when you don't use natural language. When you just try the keyword stuff, when you try to put stuff in, I see people put it inside of their business name where they don't keep their business, what their real business name is. They try to stack keywords inside of there that have no rhyme or reason to even be there. There's a lot of stuff, but a lot of it comes down to your keywords and being stuffed in that inside of your descriptions.
Right. But not only just your keywords, but also your products and services that you list for yourself as well. Are they hand in hand on that or not? Is it more keywords?
Really? because you can put as many products and services in as you want. So as long as you stack them in the right order, you're going to be good. Because remember, not all the networks pick up everything, just like not all networks will pick up every single keyword you put in. So you have to make sure you put the top important ones at the very top. And don't put all your keywords, if you're using Simply Be Found, don't put all your keywords inside of one line. Make sure you stack each one up, because we'll comma divide that up and you can drag and drop them as they change. Instead of, if you put them as one long one, it's going to look like one keyword for that entire string.
So, when I know that we're talking about spam scores, but we're kind of diverse to the keywords. So let's just talk about that for a little bit. How important are the keywords? Yeah, I mean, obviously it's important, but you said what you're putting out, you need to be talking about yourself out there. Are you talking on social media? Are you talking website? Are you talking everywhere on that? When I say social media, I'm talking about all the different social media platforms that are available that you may have
You have
access
to. So that's going to be how you're going to fill up your three different pillars. So you have content, authority, and trust. So if you're going to stack this up and you're going to want a slow spam score, what I'm looking for and what you should be looking for everything is make sure that you do your descriptions and actually talk about what you're talking about, just like if you're talking to a customer. Natural language, have that inside of each of your description pieces. Having your name, your address, your phone number, all that filled out inside of the business information. Putting in your latitude and your longitude. That's going to help you on networks, especially inside of Siri. If you don't have those in, you're not probably going to pop up on Siri. Just FYI, you're probably not going to pop up. Then having your keywords and your products and services in there and having what kind of payment option you have, that's going to be one piece of that data. That's filling out all of your content. That's filling out all of your data that's about your business. That's going to help build up your authority and your trust over time, by then stacking social media onto it. So social media is going to be Facebook, X, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Business Profile, and possibly YouTube if you're doing that type of marketing. But making sure that you're consistent there, because when the algorithm comes in, it's going to scan all of your business information for one. For two, it's going to then check your social media. For three, it's going to check your website. That's why structuring your website with the right schema inside, consistency, having the same information that's inside your profile is going to be really super important. So what happens, and there's not a true spam score out there, because I'd love to put a spam score inside of our actual dashboard. I've thought about it from a programming standpoint. I can't figure out how we would end up doing it to where it wouldn't be really weird and cause a lot of confusion. That's where the marketing coaching side comes in, when someone can actually contact us and we can look at it and go, yep, you're not going out to the networks. They're not picking you up because your spam score is high right now.
So is there any way of checking that? I mean, we've talked about it, trying to figure out what the data points are. There's nothing you can, you can go out there and when you talk schema for your website, there's a way of checking your schema out there on schema.org for your website. But as far as the spam score is concerned, there's really nothing out there except for the fact that you need to be aware, as the owner putting the information out there, that you're staying consistent. Is that, am I hearing you correctly on that process?
Correct. So when I go in, I'm looking for a spam score inside of a profile. I'm looking to see when someone says, hey, I am not being found on XYZ network. I go in and I look at the profile and I do a spam score inside of my head of, okay, this is how they talked about, their description 1, description 2, description 3. Here's the keywords they put in. Did they put enough data into those descriptions? I'll see it to where it's one line on each of those descriptions, and then it's better than nothing, but you're not going to have enough natural language in there to where that's going to automatically increase your spam score. So when I'm looking at it and I'm looking to see why they're not coming out, it's that manual profile review, and it's utilizing my experience inside of the world of digital marketing, organic marketing for how this works. I know the reason why they're not going out is because they're going to get knocked out there. So each network is different. So when we're troubleshooting certain networks, so if you're not being found on Alexa, I might have a different troubleshooting piece than if you are not being found on Siri, versus if you need to improve your Google Business Profile, versus if you need to, get rank higher inside of Bing. Wherever you're not finding yourself, it's being able to figure out what data points you need to be able to do. It might be, hey, guess what? We got to do some more content inside of your blog. You got a blog. Here's how you do that. You got to do some social media. There's all that stacks into it. That's really not part of your spam score, would be how you're not finding there. But 99% of the problems I see from all of the different listings we have is when people are stacking keywords or not providing enough information. It'll automatically just drive that spam score way up because the
Okay.
networks won't pick them up. Because that's what makes us different than somebody else. There's a lot of networks out there that pay for slots and pay for different positions inside of there, and they force somebody in, but they're not organically there. So if you cancel their service, that profile will drop off. If you stop paying them, you don't have that profile anymore. Ours is an organic spot. We are a data provider or an aggregator that goes out to each of the networks. So we have that relationship to be able to build that information in accuracy. So when we put that information in, they get to make the decision. Does it go to the outdoor network? Does it not? Where does it place? Then they have algorithms inside that check all this stuff to make sure that it is something quality they want to deliver. Because if you're not delivering quality inside of your profile to each of those networks, you're going to be left behind.
Okay. And in that whole discussion, you said you want to, the idea is to get your spam score low. You kind of contradict yourself, say raise your, you want to try to do is take a high spam score and make it lower by doing all these things. Just so there's a clarification.
You don't want to throw red alerts, because if you throw red alerts, you're not going to be found. They're not going to see the value inside of your business.
So it's like golf. You want the lowest score you can get, if you will, in my analogy process.
Correct. And some people go, well, what was my spam score? I would love to build it out. It's different for every single network. I'd love to build out that piece, but we can't. I mean, I can look at it and go, that's why you're not ranking. Here's how we fix it. Here's our solution for that. That's a simple way of doing it. And I think it has more value, because if you're trying to fight it, I mean, most business owners have a hard time talking about their business in written form.
You're right. I agree with you 100%. And what they don't understand is they have an AI assist. You can't depend on it. But if you to talk about yourself is easier now, because your business, you say, hey, help me write something about that. But you have to be very careful not to let AI do all the work for you. It has to be, you still have to have that human element in there. I know that's this little sidebar on this, but the problem is with AI right now is there's so much information going out there that's AI generated that's not being, I saw something the other day that something was written and nobody paid attention to it. It says, oh, instead of a flashing light, it says, oh, your light will be breathing. I go, what is that? So somebody didn't pay attention. So that's why if you're going to talk about yourself and use AI assist, I know I'm sidebarring pretty hard here, but make sure that you put the human element in there, because your business and you can help tell your story better. I mean, we talk about story all the time.
You have to be able to tell that story piece. Your other big piece is make sure that you fill out your basic information inside your profile. Do that profile review with us. And if you're a member of us, we'll go through your profile and we'll try to expand out of that. We'll help you expand your keywords. We'll help you expand your products and services, fix those descriptions out to where you could do it. We never change any of your information inside of your business profile. We provide you suggestions back. Remember, we do use AI inside of our side. So make sure you double check our AI that it didn't do something that was weird and that we didn't miss it. Because there's times that we're doing profile reviews for 30, 40 different members in one day. So it's one of those things to where I've been known to miss it or talk about something that your business doesn't even do, but a company in your same category might do it on another part of the world or another part of the United States. So you have to remember, as Dean and I do that, you have to keep that in mind when you get that data back. And I think that's a matter of being able to stack that out, because remember, content, authority, trust are your three pillars. You have to make sure that you're doing all three of them.
Exactly.
Or else you're not going to get anywhere.
Exactly. So let's just, I know we're talking about trying to get your spam score down low. How, let's say that, we talked about, I'm going to go to keywords real quick that I think a lot of people miss out on. Bless you.
Thank you.
So, I changed my spam. I just lost my train of thought. But let's say, I provide XYZ product and you're in a large metropolitan area. Can you get yourself in trouble spam wise if you say, I provide XYZ service in this town, XYZ service in this location. Does that become a stacking thing? Does that cause spam, or is some of that okay? But don't get crazy with it.
It's okay inside of your long description. Your short, no. Your medium, no. Your long, yes. But I would stack that inside of your keywords. So if you're a roofing company, all right. So, well, let's talk about that side real quick. So if you're a roofing company, everybody knows that they chase hailstorms like crazy. Everybody knows that they're trying to get as many leads as they possibly can. So I'm going to use them as the example in this. If you are seeing hail inside of areas that are inside of certain parts of the world or of your territory that are getting it, don't talk about those inside of your business descriptions. Your business descriptions are supposed to be a long-term place. By the time those end up getting updated across all the networks, if you're updating them all the time, is going to hurt you because you can't be changing your descriptions every single day for what you're seeing. So you don't want to be doing that side. So keep that in mind when you're doing your descriptions. We'll talk about everything you can inside of those descriptions. That is going to be the long-term play. Don't do it for what's happening today. Make sure you do it for what is always going to be consistent inside of your description. Your keywords, you can also do the same thing. You can stack your keywords up for what you have. You can do what's called a long form keyword, and you can put the town in there. So you can say roofing in Greeley, Colorado, roofing in Fort Collins, Colorado, and have that stacked up as long, or roofing repair, hail inspections. You can have all that stacked up inside of your keyword piece and there. But how you would do that inside of the roofing world, when say you have a hailstorm, say you're seeing inspections in this area that are damaged, what you're going to do is you're going to use your blog, you're going to use your YouTube, your social media. You're going to use those to be able to pinpoint to those places. I'm seeing a lot of roofers right now that are wanting to update their descriptions every day. And by the time it gets out there, and networks are going to see that as a spam score as well, because now there's all these changes like, well, these guys don't even know what the hell they're doing. This profile is making changes. They're trying to force us to do something. So making too many changes inside of your actual profile can hurt you as well. You want to be very cautious about that, because once you get that set, you want to kind of let it be and make tweaks about every, I'd say 6 to 8 weeks maximum. If you're going to tweak it out, that's the best way to do that, is to get your profile review in right away and then see how the data works. So that way you have data to work at. You got to remember, it takes 90 days really to go out to all the networks and get updated and stacking that information up. So don't make a ton of changes, because that can also cause a spam score to go up. Make sure that if you are wanting to target certain spots and there's certain things going on in your business, use the content strategy. You start with your, I always say, start with a YouTube video, talk about what you're solving, the area that you're in, and then branch out, get some social media posts, get a blog post about that, and start talking about it. That's going to have a long-term play, because you got to remember, everything inside of the world of digital marketing, and especially organic, is all connected together. So when you bring it all together, it's going to really help. Your profile is going to cause backlinks to your website. Your website then needs to talk about everything that you do as well. That's your powerhouse for major amounts of content. Then you have your social media, again, powerhouse for content. Does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely.
I know that was a long-winded answer.
But you have case studies out there, and you talked about changing stuff. We had one member back in the New England area that wanted to update his stuff once a week. And then he started getting angry that he was sliding down. Is that because he was making too many changes, and his the whole thing was against him? I know we sat on him and said, quit changing everything, but that's a case point that we can talk about. That he was doing okay, but then we started making all those changes because it was easy for him to do so, and he discovered it, but that was hurting him in the long play. Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Yes, there's too many changes and you're trying to stack it. So in that case study, and I've seen this across multiple different members that we have now, I've sent out some emails on this as well, saying, hey, stop doing this. It's hurting you. But what they do is they go, okay, I'm going to make all these tweaks to my business profile. I signed up for simplybefound.com. I'm going to change all this out. And I didn't get any more calls that day. So I'm going to come in the next day and I'm going to make more changes. I didn't get calls the next day. Now I'm going to make changes again. Well, you never gave your profile a chance because now it just keeps sending out all these new changes and it's trying to chase itself. It doesn't know where it's going to be. You're going to cause confusion. And once you cause confusion, you're going to lose every single time.
Right. And there's some, there's some delays on some networks that say it needs to verify those changes too. So, and if for some reason you've made more changes and it hasn't verified the last changes, is that a real thing or, kind of thing that holds you up? Well,
so if you think about the listings engine for how we do it, you fill out one form or a series of forms inside there, but think of it could be one form inside of there of, your business information, your hours, your phone number, your address, your latitude, longitude, your products, your services, what all that different stuff gets stacked in there, your descriptions. So you have that piece. So when you fill that form out, what's going to happen is you're going to go out to our system and it's going to start trying to find networks that it can put you on. It's going to go through it. It's going to wait for responses back. You also then are going to get digital responses that come back from each of those networks. Our data science team is working on being able to solve those issues. And if we need you to make tweaks, we'll let you know, hey, make some tweaks there. But it's about verification, making sure everything stacks. That's why having the website, having the social media is going to be really important because we can start to connect those dots. And it's all the stuff that we do behind the scenes. And one thing I'm getting a lot of messages on as well is what about one-time registration? I don't think one-time registration works because we send out your information every single day out to the networks. So when that information gets sent out every day, you cause what's called a data lock on your information. We know what information is going out and know that someone else hasn't hijacked your information. That's also going to be a benefit inside of simplybefound.com.
Okay. No,
but there's a lot of stuff that's there, but if you can constantly make changes to it, it's going to put you into into a shit show and you're going to be in a tailspin that you're not going to be able to pull out of.
Yeah. And you just said something and it triggers me because I know that it's up again right now. People are getting a lot of these phone calls. I know that it's a whole deal. They want you to change everything. Is that a bad thing? I mean, they don't know what they're looking at for you a lot of times, but if you sign up for them, would that hurt you if you sign up for more than one of those or not?
Yeah, it could, because then you have multiple different data pieces. We have people that signed up for this service. And if they didn't tell us they signed up for that service and we're trying to fight against it, they're sending out that information, it can hurt you. It's kind of like your Google business profile. If you haven't removed their API access from the back end, it's going to hurt you because now they're sending out different information. You're going to see changes and you're going to be like, where the hell these changes come from? There's a lot of stuff that gets stacked up there.
Okay. Sounds good. But most of the time, what we're doing is the whole package for you. I mean, and making sure that it's all consistent. And again, like you said, you can do this all for free if you have the time to do this, to clean it all up. But it takes a lot of time you have to have a login, all these things where our particular, our dashboard is a one location login and we do it all for you. And that's the difference between us and some of the other processes out there.
And the fact that you can come to us and say, hey, can you do a profile review? What recommendations? I'm not ranking on this network. What else could I be doing to be able to build on my 3 pillars? And how do I do it? You get access to that marketing coach, which I think is absolutely a huge piece. So I think that's a lot for what the spam score is and what it is probably more we could talk about there. So if you have questions on that, let us know. And we'd love to be able to answer those questions for you. And if you ever want to join our podcast, we'd love for it as well. Is there anything else you want to talk about on this one?
Just the final comment for me is, if you remember, use your coaches, because that's what we're there for, to help you out.
Yep. I agree.
So but that's it for
all
me.
Right, well, thank you for joining us today. My name is Rob. I'm one of the co-founders here at simplybefound.com.
And I'm Dean, and I want to say thanks again for joining us. Have a great day.
Thank you. It's so glad to have you here.